Hi, everyone. It's great to be back with you. Can honestly say I've never been more excited for a media day than I am today. It signals the start of a much anticipated season. I know for us and our players and our fans and you all and everybody else in the conference, it's exciting time of year. So really looking forward to starting next week with our team. We've got a very, very competitive roster. We have a lot of experience coming back with 9 super seniors and a number of young players we have high expectations for. And we're going to start next Thursday, and really, really looking forward to getting back on the field and working with these guys. It's a good group, and we got a couple of them joining us today, Coyne Dang and Chase Garbers, who you'll get to know. But like I said before, this is exciting time of year, and being here in person at Media Days is special for all of us. So with that, we'll open it up for questions, and go Bears.
Come on up.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Cameron Buford, Los Angeles News Observer. What is your communication to the players about the name, image, and likeness ruling? And how do you expect to help the players kind of take advantage of this?
We have put together a program, it's called Golden, which is centered around NIL for all of our student athletes, and it's a resource and provides guidance for them and in terms of education and contracts, negotiations, tax implications, and we have a number of players who have entered into agreements within NIL. I think it's going to be, months, maybe even years before it really sorts itself out. I think it's long overdue. We're in full support of it, and with our location, being in the Bay Area, there's going to be a number of opportunities for players on our team. So I know they're excited about it. We are fully supportive, and our administration's done a great job of providing some resources and guidance when it comes to NIL.
And again, everybody's welcome to come on up and ask any questions you have.
So you have a lot of returning veterans in this season. In your experience as a coach, how has that impacted your program, and what are you expecting from the veteran contributions this year?
Well, we have extremely high expectations for them and the rest of the guys. Having 9 super seniors, there's a lot of guys who play a lot of reps for us. And as I mentioned before, it's the most competitive roster we've had at the individual position groups and offensively and defensively. So, that competition will bring out the best in each and every one of those guys. But the veterans specifically, they understand what it takes. They've been in the fire. They've played a lot of reps. What we're looking for is consistency in our performance, and that starts with how we approach the off-season, our summer workouts, what we do in fall camp, and continue throughout the season to continue to improve. But, I think we got some really good players coming back on both sides of the ball, and we have extremely high expectations for them and ourselves.
Hey, Coach Wilcox. With Tim DeRuyter gone, and Coyne Dang moving outside, do you anticipate or not any change in the base defensive formation?
No, not at all. I think it's really a win-win with Coyne moving to outside linebacker with him and Cam Good and a couple of the other guys we got. We feel like we got some really good players there. We're eager for some of these inside linebackers to get an opportunity. We think we have some good players in there, but yeah, it won't change what we're doing specifically. I mean, each and every year, the schematics change based on the strengths of your team. Those things are tweaked, but there will be no significant changes because any coaching changes, no.
What's your ideal ending to this year's season?
What's our ideal ending? To win every game. That's why you line up and play. That's the ideal ending.
Coach, good to see you in person.
Hey, Trace. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, just came out with the new roster this morning. You have Luke back.
Yeah.
How's it having him back, and what have you seen from some of your 2020
Yeah. It is great having Luke Beckett back. Now he is on the roster. There's still some work with the NCAA being done. It's in their hands at this time. We're expecting positive news regarding that. Luke has a unique story. I don't know that there's ever been a guy who's, essentially went through 7 years and played for a team, left the team, and come back to the team. It'd be a good story for somebody to write. But Luke's played a lot of football for us, and is a good football player, and was excited to come back and join his teammates, and has a veteran presence in that room. We feel like there's some really talented younger players in that room. They just haven't played much. We're going to need some of those guys to step up and provide us with some reps, with Brett being out. But again, I think the competitiveness, like I said, at that position and the others is as good as we've had.
Who are some of those young guys who we can see, like Stanley or Ricky?
You got them. You got the names. Stanley, Ricky, let's see, Keeley. I might be missing guys, but there's a number of those guys. Ethan Saunders is another guy. Aaron Maldonado's coming back. So there's just a handful of guys that can play for us. And we got some freshmen that just joined us this summer who are pretty impressive physically. So time will tell, and that's why we're going to line up and practice. But we do have high expectations for that group. Yep.
Hi, Coach. Brad Schematic from Phoenix, 260. I got in late. You may have addressed Brett Johnson's situation. Valley Kid, you may have missed out.
No.
Is there anything you can add on Brett and his status?
No updates. He's doing as well as he possibly could be. Significant injury that he suffered. And, first of all, we're just glad that he's okay. It was a serious accident. And obviously, the football side of it, he's a very, very good player. Very good player. And we'll miss that, not having a guy like that. But gives opportunity to some of these other guys we just mentioned, and we'll get Brett's back. Brett is back on campus, and we will get him back on as soon as humanly possible. He's attacked the rehabilitation like we would have expected Brett to, and look forward to him getting back on the field as soon as possible.
One of the Valley Kids, Kai Milner.
Kai, yeah, doing well. Kai can throw the ball. He's got a great demeanor. It's like Kai's joined us this summer, but we've known him a long time, and he's got a ton to learn, like any freshman, and especially at that position. He's going to learn a lot and drink from the fire hose a little bit, but he's a talented guy. Again, as I mentioned, he's got a great personality and demeanor, which you like to see out of that quarterback position, and he can throw the ball. I mean, when it comes out of his hand, it's got some pace, and he's accurate, so really, really looking forward to getting him some reps starting next week.
The two players from Liberty that are out there, Cooper and blanking on the two players from Liberty High School from the Valley.
Puskas.
Puskas, that's right.
Yeah, Braxton Croto is a really steady player for us. Braxton works extremely hard. He's a very, very physical guy. He's played a lot. He's made some big plays last year for us, and he's in as good a shape as he's ever been in. So I would expect him to have a very, very good season. Ryan Puskas is kind of been in and out of the lineup, nursing some injury things, and so he's just still got a lot of work to do.
Last question, the impact of Charlie Regal in Arizona.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, he was a really successful high school coach in Arizona, as you probably know, and has a lot of relationships. He's got he connects really well with the players, and in terms of recruiting and identifying the guys that fit us. And Charlie's been a really valuable person for our program in that way. Yep. Well, yeah, to not go on a visit and, commit and sign to a school is pretty unique. I mean, it's never happened before, I don't think. And we had a number of guys that we did virtual recruiting tours with and virtual visits who weren't even on our campus until they checked in last month. And, you'd hope that would never have to happen again. But we feel really good about those guys, and then the feedback here in the last month with the next year's class has been very, very positive.
Coach, Jasper Sunday, the Daily Cal. Mike Safell retired. He's a team captain. I know he's an important part of your squad. What are your thoughts on that, and maybe what opportunities does it open up for other linemen going forward?
Well, I feel for Mike. It was something he really didn't have much control over. It was a decision he had to make, and we support him fully. We love Mike. He is an unbelievable person. He's a great football player. We're going to miss him as a player, but he's still part of our team and will continue to be. Mike is going to be involved in some way moving forward, but right now we're just supporting him through kind of a difficult time. He's been playing football as probably as long as he remembers, and it's tough to have to give that up when it's not within your control like that. So the other guys, there's some O-linemen. Matt Sendricks played center. Brian Driscoll really came on last season and had a very good spring. He's a very smart, tough guy. We expect him to be in the mix there. And then there's some other guys who I think Ben Coleman is a guy that potentially could play interior there. We'll see. But there's just a handful of guys that will be working at that position in the next month. And we cross-train a number of our offensive linemen for this very reason. So we're eager to watch those guys continue to grow as players throughout this fall.
And then one final question. I know during your recruiting, one of the things you guys tell incoming players is that football will often retire them before they want to retire from football.
Yeah.
How does the situation with Safell maybe play into that, and what do you think the program has maybe done for him to prepare him for the next step in his life?
Yeah, it does. I mean, this is football, for the most part, retires the player. The player doesn't always retire from football. The game chooses, and that happened with Mike, probably earlier than he anticipated. But I think, what Mike has done in his time at Cal, on the field, been exceptional, but off the field in terms of his education, how he approaches school, how he approaches networking and meeting people, and the opportunities. I mean, I spoke with a couple of our alumni, this past week, and the phone calls that Mike Safell is going to get to come meet with them and talk with them, they're significant. And so I think it speaks to, the power of the institution, but also the way that Mike has taken advantage of his time at Cal. So, you bet.
Justin, good to see you. Been a while. The UCLA game might have been the strangest circumstance in a very strange season last year. With some distance, do you feel it was right to play that game the way it came together, or do you have some regrets about?
Oh, geez. It was such a unique time. I mean, I could make an argument either way. And to be honest with you, we're moving on. We are moving forward. Last season was challenging for everybody. And I could sit here and talk about all the challenges we had, and I'm sure the other coaches in schools could too, but we're looking forward to next week and next season. And I feel very good about our team, but really not spending a lot of time looking back on last year. I mean, we identified plays and things we need to do better, but not spending a whole lot of time with, decisions about playing games and policies and protocols and all that. Just, we're moving forward.
For Bill and Chase, you start spring ball and then it gets interrupted. Just where's their understanding and comfort level with each other at compared to last season?
Yeah, much further along, as you would expect. The relationship and the teaching that goes on when you install a new offense with some significant changes, language, expectations, techniques, those things, we're much, much further along. Spring football was really, really productive for us, and our summer, we had a really long post-spring workout period and this summer workout period where Brian Johnson and our strength and conditioning staff have really taken advantage of building up our bodies. But specific to the offense, we've had a lot more time to communicate and meet and spend on football. And anytime you get that, you're getting better and better every day. And if you talk to Chase, he'd tell you the same thing. The comfort level is significantly improved.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hi, Justin. Nick Selby with Sports Illustrated. What have been your early impressions of the new commissioner, and what sort of maybe changes or developments you hope to see with the new regime?
Could you repeat the last part of your question?
Oh, yeah. Well, what sort of changes or developments are you hoping to see with the new conference leadership?
Yeah. We had a chance to meet with the commissioner yesterday for the first time. Very, very impressive. Very smart, very calculated, and full confidence in the direction of the conference. Yep.
I'm back. You have a couple guys that you signed in the 2021 recruiting class that didn't appear on your roster, and Femi Oladejo and Yele Moore. Are they going to be on the roster in the future, or what is the situation with them?
Yeah, they're on the roster.
They are?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, there's your guy. Don't get mad at me, Trace. Kyle.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both with us.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And with that, you guys, Coach Sherman is, he took over as the full-time defensive coordinator last year, but you guys don't have Coach DeRuiter in the defensive meeting room anymore. How has he kind of handled that change, and are there any fundamental changes to the defense with him?
Yeah, there won't be any fundamental changes. As I mentioned before, every year you tweak things based on strengths and weaknesses of your team, but yeah, that's not an issue at all.
I guess as far as the defense goes, where do you see your strengths? Past you've had the defensive backs to rely on.
Yeah. We got some new faces. I think when you look at the roster, the outside linebacker position, when you have Coyne and Cameron Good and Braxton Croto and some of these younger guys that we think can help us, that's a strength. I think there's some good football players at the D-line that just don't have as much experience. We got to find out who's going to play how many reps. The inside linebacker position, I think Evan Tattersall's had a very, very good offseason. He's in the best shape he's ever been in, and I think taking a step forward in his progression. Mo Iosefa is a very talented player who's still learning a lot. I think there's some other inside linebackers that can provide some reps. In the back end, you got Josh Drayden, who's played some good football for us for a long time, along with Elijah Hicks. So those two guys have played a ton of football for us for the past 4 years, 4+ years for Josh, I guess. And then there's some other guys in that secondary that I think are ready to kind of make their move. And all that will sort out. But I think if you just looked on paper, the returning guys with Cameron and Coyne, that outside linebacker position would be one of the strengths.
I wanted to ask about Lou Hearns. He had a massive spring at De La Salle over there.
Yeah.
Have you guys been able to see anything from him so far as summer workouts? Or?
Yeah, summer workouts. I mean, he's a very quick twitch guy. He's very, very productive in a great program, and that's always a good sign. So got high hopes for him, but again, like any freshman, there's just a lot to be determined. We're very excited about the recruiting class and the signees, but there's just so much to do yet. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There has been a shift to much more of a two-down line across the sport.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about that when this division might be the most throwback, where yourselves, Stanford, Washington, OSU run more 12 and more 13, where Oregon and Wazoo do more 11, some 12, a lot of 10, but you have so many teams who are, basically pro style, and yet you've got a sport that's shifting to two-down line.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's one of the strengths of the conference, of our conference. I mean, you have the diversity in the schemes that you play against, both offensively and defensively, and the players playing the schemes, very talented players. But I know, speaking from a defensive perspective, we play 3-4 base defense, and we'll do that against some of the teams that want to go big, and then we play 4-2-5 nickel. And I know you mentioned, the two-down defensive lineman. That probably is semantics. It's just how you look at these stand-up outside guys, whether they put their hand down or not. I wouldn't differentiate those too much. But I think that's a great challenge, that you have enough defense to be able to line up and play effectively against these teams that we're playing, and also not overload your guys. So that's the line we're always trying to walk. And again, that's, kind of some of the fun in all this is trying to find that sweet spot for what you're good at, what you need, and get it communicated to the players so they can go out there and play.
I realize he's moved within the division, but can you just speak to what Tim did for you and running your defense for the seasons that he did?
Could you? I can't hear you.
I realize. Yeah, sorry.
You're good. Yeah.
I realize he moved within the division, but can you speak to just what Tim DeRuyter did?
Yeah, Tim did a great job for us. I've known him a long time, and he was great to work with. We have some excellent football coaches. Andrew Browning, who's as good as there is, in my opinion, is a defensive line coach. Pete Sermon, who I've known for a long time, is in terms of teaching, preparing, and game planning, as good as there is. And now with Keith Hayward and Trey Watson, I mean, Keith, who I have a long history with, exceptional football coach, even better person. So there's a lot of, I coached defense for a number of years, so there's a lot of communication going on in that room. And we know who we are, we know what we want to do. Our job is to get it communicated to the players and make sure we're giving this year's team, which is not last year's team or the year before, the best opportunity, schematically and how we teach them and how we prepare them. So I have the utmost confidence in the guys in our room doing that.
3 minutes left, guys, 3 minutes.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
So with Chase not only getting 4 games last year, just talk about his development. How have you seen him grow in the past 12 to 24 months?
Chase
Garbage.
Yeah, I think Chase is primed for a great season. I really do. He's played a ton of football. We've got a lot of different experiences. His comfort level in practice, his comfort level within the schemes, just operating, he's confident, and I think that just comes with age and time. It doesn't always happen overnight, and he's had some really good moments. He's learned a lot along the way, and I think Chase is, like I said before, I think he's just primed for a very, very good season.
What is maybe one thing that you would like to see him specifically develop this season that you haven't in the past two?
Yeah, I think for all of us, it's just the consistency in our performance. He's had some great moments and great games, like the rest of the team has, and now it's finding that consistency, and that's just part of your DNA and how you operate in the off season and how you prepare, and when you go out and play a play or a series, a quarter or a game, it's finding that consistency. It's hard to do, and a lot of people can have a great play or a great series or a great quarter, even a game, but to do that throughout the season with all the twists and turns and some of the adversity that you're going to face is difficult, and so that's really where we need to take the next step.
You mentioned with Keith coming in, going back to your days with Washington, is that where a lot of that relationship came from? And just kind of, can you expand on just your relationship with Keith Hayward?
I'm having a hard time hearing you. You said Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah, Keith Hayward?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known Keith a long time, really dating back to his playing days, and got a chance to work with him for about 4 years. Keith's a very, very good football mind, super person. He's great with our players. I know they love playing for him. And it doesn't take long with a guy like that, walk in the meeting room, spend time with the players to see that relationship develop. And that's such a key component in coaching that there's a lot of people that can draw X's and O's. There really are. You can learn it on YouTube. You could spend time on YouTube and learn how to line up a defense. There are fewer people who can communicate that, who can get to know the players and build a relationship so they have faith in the guy teaching them, and they will buy in and spend time on it, and Keith has that gift. I mean, there is, the power is in the learner. The power is in the players. They're going to choose whether they listen to you or not, and how you treat them and how you build that relationship is so critical, and he has that.
And circling back, my last question to Chase.
This is the last question.
Your relationship, given as a defensive head coach, do you help him in a specific or special way that maybe an offensive-minded head coach couldn't, given you're a defensive guy? He's got to go against defenses. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We don't spend a ton. Bill Musgrave is the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. He coaches Chase. I'm going to support Chase in the ways that I see fit. And I have a great relationship with him and a lot of other guys on our team. And, always provide my input without having too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. I don't think it's helpful to have 7 coaches coach a player. That doesn't help them play better. And so when we have a guy like Bill Musgrave who's done it for as long as he's done it, played it, been around it at the highest level, he's the guy that's going to be coaching Chase. I will help Chase in other ways, but when it comes to schematics and things like that, that's Bill's job, and I have the utmost confidence in him doing that. And as I mentioned before, the more people you have chirping in somebody's ear, that doesn't make them play better. Doesn't help them play better. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. All good? All right. Thanks. Go Bears.